PR Connections Radio presents.
Welcome to the Grandmother Rae podcast. I am Rae Everlasting, and I am a pipe carrier grandmother of the Bird clan by lineage. My intention for this podcast is to assist each of us in living a more holistic life through sharing the wisdom of the grandmother and the ancestors. So gather round, because the grandmother is in. And welcome, beautiful souls. I'm so honored and grateful to see you today. This show is going to be really fun, for one thing, because I have no idea what all we're going to talk about. When I was preparing for the show, normally I do my little bullet points and I kind of have an idea of what we're doing. And the ancestors and the grandmothers kept saying, just let go and let us talk through you. The topic came through because I recently experienced a closing of one chapter and an opening of another. And what I found interesting about this is I noticed there was a whole lot of us doing the same thing. The timing was really, really interesting. We were all going through this opportunities to start over again, to recreate or to create. And the topic kept coming up: to live now, be present, be here. At times I would literally hear my guides in my head saying, Rae, if you're going to be here, be here. In other words, if you're going to be present. That's where all the gifts are. So before we would get into whatever the ancestors and the grandmothers are going to share with us about living now, let's take a moment to come into the now. So join me for just a minute and let's focus in on our breath. Just allow the breath to be. One of the quickest ways I know for me to come into the present moment is to really focus in on my breath. When I'm focused in on that breath and feeling the response of my body, feeling my body expand and contract, and feeling the sensation of the air as it passes my nostrils, it really brings me into this moment. Great. Now that we're here, now, let's talk about living now. With all the distractions that are going on in this world, it's so easy to slip out of the present moment and travel to another time. Did you know that you're a time traveler? Yeah, we are. Think about it. We're going through our day. All of a sudden, something catches our attention, and we have a thought about another time. And in that moment, we travel from the present to that moment. And maybe it's a great memory and we want to stay there. Or maybe it's a memory that we're still attached to because we feel like it's unresolved. And so we spend some time there and we play with that. And in that moment, we're not in the present anymore. We're in another time. So look at us, we're time travelers. The thing about living now is that that's where we are physically. When we're physically in a moment and mentally, emotionally, we're somewhere else, what are we missing? You remember when we're kids, at least I was this way, I didn't want to take a nap. Boy, that's changed. We didn't want to take a nap as kids because why? We were afraid we were going to miss something. We wanted to be right in that moment all the time to see what we were going to find. And somewhere along the way, that gets lost in us. So, how fun would it be if we allowed that part of our being to live more often, to where we're spending the moments excited about the adventure that we're on, instead of focusing on what may happen or could happen or did happen or how it happened or why it. Okay, that's a lot. And what it does to our being is it fragments us. We are holistic, whole beings. We're whole beings until we fragment. And when we're in those moments where we're chasing down old memories or we're playing in old stuff or we're worrying about future stuff that may or may not ever happen, or how to handle something that potentially is going to take place, or scripting, guilty. How often do we, I have this meeting coming up, and we start, instead of being here now I'm in that meeting and I'm thinking through all these things. Oh, I want to make sure of this and make sure of that. And there's nothing wrong with that. I do it all the time, especially when we are professionals and we're out there and we're working with other people. We really want to think ahead to an extent and consider how to approach what's coming, right? What happens or can happen? What can happen in those moments is then I'm so focused on that I'm missing out on now, and I'm so focused on that I stay there and I don't really come back to now, except to manage getting to there, right? And what have I missed in the meantime? Okay, one of the things that I'm receiving right now, a lot of us have been going through a lot of change. And in the process of going through that change, we've been doing a lot of reviewing. There's nothing wrong with doing the reviewing. That's a really good thing. In the reviewing, it offers us the opportunity to have awarenesses that we didn't have in that moment, awarenesses that can help us to grow and evolve. However, consider this. Consider that you're sitting next to a stream of water. And that stream of water is all of these thoughts, all of the things that are going through your mind, all of the potentials that are bringing you out of the present moment. And with that, you have the choice to allow those thoughts to continue on without spending time in there with it. Does this make sense? And so as you're considering these moments, understand that you have the power to either sit in the water and be in that water and be carried away by the water, or to allow the water to continue to travel on while you stay in the present. And this is a technique that was shown to me some time ago for meditation. And that is to allow the thoughts to flow by without trying to hold on to them. And so what I'm seeing here is a correlation between living in the present moment and meditation. As we choose to be more present in the now, as we choose to live more in the now, we allow those distractions that keep us from being present. We allow ourselves to have awareness of them without attachment to them. This is one way we stay more present in the moment. And what is it that we find in that present moment? I would love to hear from you guys after we finish here. So feel free to send me some feedback. First of all, how do you stay present? What works for you? For me, it's that realization that I can take my breath and bring myself back. For me, it's very much knowing that I have the choice. Choice is such a powerful superpower that we all have. I can choose to continue to live in the past or live in the future, or I can choose to be in the present moment. Just like I can choose to be upset, angry, irritated, frustrated, or I can choose to be happy. I can choose to be loving and kind and compassionate. It's all choice. So when we're considering things like being more present, it's all comes down to choice. One of the big things that I keep hearing over and over and over again is allow, accept, allow and accept. It's instead of saying non-judgment. For years, I've shared with people the power of not being judgmental, the power of allowing yourself just to be. This is such a powerful tool when we're looking to be more in the present moment. Because if I'm judging myself about not being present, if I'm judging myself about not living now, about dwelling too much in the past, about dwelling too much on the future, if I'm being judgmental, then I have just put up a massive roadblock to being present, because I'm focused on the fact that I'm not doing it. And what we focus on is the energy we feed. That's what we give our power to. That which we focus on is what we give our power away to. Understand? This is very powerful to have awareness of, because when we realize that, then again, we get to use that superpower called choice. When I have the awareness that I'm being judgmental of myself or judgmental of someone else, because judgment of the other is judgment of myself. If the other is doing something or being something that I am either aware or not aware that I'm judging myself for, then it's going to be a big bright light for me going, hey, 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 hey. And when I have that awareness that everything is a mirror of my internal state of being, then I can see everything completely as it is. And that's a helper, a teacher, a guide, an assistant, helping me to have more awareness of me, helping me to make the choices that either are beneficial or not. And that's my choice too. So when we're talking about living now, one of the things that we would like to share with you, why do you want to live now? Have you ever thought about it? It's one of those things that I know became very, very popular not long ago, relatively not long ago. Be here now, be present. And I noticed as this became a thing for everybody, that there began to be, again, a whole lot of judgment around it. You know, you're not being present enough, blah, blah, blah. Judgment, judgment, judgment. Not sure how that's supposed to help, but it's there. So have you ever, you've been told that this is what you should do. You've been told that this is the thing to do, especially if you're on a spiritual path, right? If you're on a spiritual path, be present now. This is the way to do it. All that great stuff. Did you ever stop to think for yourself? Why do you want to make that choice? Here we are. We're empowering you. Why do you want to be present? Once you understand why it's important to you, then it's not a matter of, well, so-and-so says that if I'm more present, I'll be more happy. That was a question that popped up on my feed somewhere along the way recently on some social media thing. And it was, do you think being present or living in the moment makes you more happy? And I really thought about it. And I love stuff like that. I love to ask myself questions. I love to ask questions of the universe because I love to learn, but that's just me. So when I was pondering that question, does the living now, does being present make you more happy? I realized it really, for me, it does. For me, it makes me much more happy because I'm not thinking about the past. I'm not thinking about the future. I'm just here. And that means I get to enjoy that I get to see mountains every day. I walk outside, I see mountains. I love mountains. So that's a big thing for me. When I'm present, I'm happy because I'm with my best companion of 17 years, my little dog, Bella. When I'm present, I get to enjoy things like someone doing a kind gesture or someone smiling. And when I'm present, I get to smile at people and watch them light up, watch them shift, and realize that we just supported one another on our journey just by that being present in that moment. So ask yourself, why do I want to be present? Why is this important to me? If you're not sure, then just start playing with it. I am a huge proponent of just make everything about play. If I want to see how my being is going to respond to something, then I'll play with it. Play with being present. How do you feel when you're fully present as opposed to when you're scattered? I talk to a lot of people, and it's kind of a thing that we do when we see one another or we're talking to one another. We're like, well, how are you doing? Well, how are you doing? And how often do you really want to say, I just feel like I'm overcooked? That's what I call it. Overcooked. Stick a fork in me, I'm done. And it's because we're so scattered. Our mind is in so many places. So play with being present. How do you be present? For me, I just have the awareness that I'm not being present, and then I make the choice. And I literally ask my body, so what's going to help us be more present? What do I need to let go of? What do I need to do? I focus in on my breath. I allow myself to really feel it. I make a conscious choice. I say internally or externally, I choose to be here now. That's my choice. I allow everything else to flow away as if it was water, and I choose to be here now. And if I'm not paying attention and I really need to be present, I hear my ancestors, if you're going to be here, Rae, be here. And I go, oh yeah. What I would really, really, really like to impress upon you, 3 reallys, that's pretty good, is as often as you can, as often as you choose, make sure that you are being as kind to yourself as you would to someone else. This has been a topic of the living now and being present is, am I being as kind to myself as I would to someone else? When I realize that I'm not living in the present moment, when I realize I'm not living now, am I beating myself up over it? Or am I saying, oh, I slipped out of the now. Guess what? I choose to come back. I choose to be here now. The energy is completely different. There again, play with it. See what you experience. I can offer you what works for me. I can offer you what your guides, what the ancestors offer. But really, it's you. It's all about you. What is your choice? What do you desire in your life right now, in this moment? And how often are you spending time considering what you desire and seeing it as something that you perceive can only be achieved somewhere down the road? Why not now? Why not now? Think about it. So living now, why is it such a thing? For me, what I've been shown, and what I've been shown for some others who have asked this question of me, is we each came here to bring our own unique light to this planet, to this time. And with all the change that's going on the planet, and with the people, and with the plants and animals, We came here to be this very unique gift. Each one of us is a gift. We are a gift to this time and this space. And the more we can be fully present, the more we embody our truth, our true vibrational frequency that makes us who we are. And the more often we are living in that vibrational frequency, the more we support ourselves and everyone else. One of the things that came through recently in a session with someone was that when I recognize that every other person out there is me wearing different clothes, it allows me to remember that connection between myself and everyone else. And by living now, by living in this present moment, I allow myself to fully embody as much as I possibly can in this moment, my uniqueness, my light, my vibrational frequency that I'm here to offer. But it also, because everyone else is me wearing different clothes, it creates space for everyone else to do the same if they choose. It creates that opportunity for everyone to be more present, simply because that's what I'm choosing. I used to really wonder if that was a true impact. You know, there's sayings like one drop of water, the whole ocean, yada, yada, yada. There's a lot of sayings about how we're connected and how we impact and how I make a ripple and that ripple travels out. I used to wonder, really, how much impact? And then I started being present to watch and observe without attachment, without judgment, just allowing and accepting what I saw. And I started noticing that I was getting feedback from others saying, you know, I see you doing this. I see you being brave enough to be you. And it helps me to be more brave to be me. And there's people out there that I look to when I'm struggling or feel like I'm struggling to be present, to be me, to be what I'm here for. And so there's people that I look to. And simply by watching them be open, honest, vulnerable, by watching them be authentic and be real, they encourage me. And isn't that what we're all here for? And if we're living now, if we're living in the present moment, then we get to offer that gift to one another where we're supporting one another on our journey by being the example when we forget. So as we get ready to wrap up, can't believe it's already been almost 30 minutes. As we get ready to wrap up, I offer you this gift. Love yourself. Very important. And allow yourself the gift of being present. by living now. Until we come together again, I wish you bliss-filled joy and wonder-filled adventures. Namaste from my heart to yours. Have a beautiful day.